Good afternoon, everybody. It's Midday.
I know it's been a while for us since we've gotten together last, but you don't want to miss this midday coffee time. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share, and I'll be back right after this.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrance, Pickett, always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrance? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrance? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
And what's up, everybody? Happy midday to you. The time is now about 1:29, and I decided to jump on because I wanted to talk about a son's DNA. I want to talk about my son, in particularly, Terrance Emmanuel Pickett, my son. But there's some stuff in this that I want to get out, and I want you to get as well. I want to kind of start off with you can't be a thinker, or you have to be a thinker in order to judge a thinker. Let me before I dive in, you know I'm ready. But let me say some hellos to Stephanie Clark, Clayton Taylor Jr. Will do, sir. Andre Hutnell, hello. Tasha Lockett, hey, long time no see. Happy birthday, Tosh. Blessings to you and yours. LaShawn Diane, good afternoon. Star Wright, hello. And hello to everybody that is on. If I did not acknowledge you, it's only because I can't see that you're on. So you have to comment in the comment section in order for me to acknowledge you. So it takes a thinker to judge a thinker. Here's what most people do. Most people equate thinking to emotional rapid responses. People build opinion based on their like and love level. They build opinion based on who they're infatuated with. They build opinions based on how they feel. It's very subjective in its nature because we generally cast opinions based on our view, and many people can't explain their view. They can't explain why they feel the way that they feel. They can't give reason to it, and this is the cover that they use. Well, I'm just telling you how I think. But how they think has no rhyme and reason. And we know, based on the way you describe your thinking, based on your rationale, based on what you're able to interpret or articulate, we know it's emotion, because emotions are the things that you can't describe. If it's based on reason, if it's based on facts, then it can be explained. Now, here's the deal. Most people do not take the time to filter through their thoughts and then be able to articulate it correctly, so they get frustrated at trying to explain, and it's in that frustration that they're misunderstood. My son put out a post yesterday. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna read the post to you. He put out a post yesterday, and I shared it to my page, like I do all great thinkers. I don't do a lot of sharing because I personally believe, I got enough to say. I have a lot to say. And it's not that I'm being selfish. It's that I use my page as my platform to articulate my thought, my opinion, my expressions, my heart. So I don't really have a lot of space for other people. And that's not me being selfish. It's me saying everything that I shared. I can promise you I have at least 1 million things to say on everything that I shared. I really do have a lot. I have a lot to say, a lot to share. So it's not often that I share a post from anybody. And when I say anybody, I mean anybody. But my son, he put a post up yesterday. He said, to be local, you got to look good. To be global, you got to be good. He says, I did 10,000 hours a couple of times. I'm going to say it again. He said, to be local, you got to look good, but to be global, you got to be good. Now, what was interesting is the comments. And as a father, there are things that our children do that we don't agree with. And we are pretty much expressive about what we don't agree with. Well, I think in the same manner that we express our grievances or the things we don't agree with, we ought to also heighten that level of performance when it comes to the praise of our children. And when they do something, I think that they ought to be celebrated. So it's not the post. It's not just the post that got me. And this is connected to what I want to talk about to you. It wasn't just the post that got me. It was to come up with this post, the amount of thinking or your ability to have boldness to be able to speak your opinion and then defend it. So I'm going to read the post again, then I'm going to read the comments. The post says, to be local, you got to look good. To be global, you got to be good. To be local, you got to look good. To be global, you got to be good. So there's a lot of philosophy of thought inside of this statement. One of the things inside of this statement is when we're local, we get the support basically of the people that are there, your village, your community. You have people that follow you, and they'll support you even if you start making pies for hell. They're going to follow you and support you because they're a part of your village. They're a part of your DNA. They're a part of what you do. So they want to see you win. They want to support you. So being able to win your village, you win your village based on what they see. A lot of people are successful because they know how to make what they do look good. That's what marketing is. To a certain degree, marketing is shady. It is, because it has to create an experience for you without you being in the experience. It has to create a picture, a video. It has to incite the part of your mind that deals with emotions. It has to trigger those emotions and heighten your senses to the point that whatever has been marketed creates a taste or a desire inside of you. And this is done through your senses. So the formula for marketing, it's based on a concept, but that concept, I can promise you, has to be heightened to the point where it triggers your emotion to make you want to be a part of it. But just because the marketing is good doesn't mean the brand is true. I know many people who market well. They can get you in the store. But once you get in the store, the service is terrible. So there are different type of people. There are different type of thinkers. Low-level thinkers are more concerned with what they see than what they have and what they know. So they invest in the look. This is straight across social media, straight across our world. They've got the latest gear. They've got the nicest car. And they'll go buy a Bentley and drive it up to an apartment because they're not into substance. They're not into root level stuff. They're into fruit level stuff. They want to be able to persuade you to think or feel a certain way about them. They look to par. But if you sit down and have a conversation with them, they're not what they appear to be. So Terrance Emmanuel, my son, his DNA and his dedication to feeding his mind and expanding his capacity of thought has caused him to cement his own place in society, where he's not riding off his mother's name and he's not riding off of his father's name, even though he shares our DNA. He's cementing his own imprint in the earth. He's cementing his own legacy. Now, let me tell you what it takes to do that and to be that. You have to have confidence in you and not compare yourself to anything or to anyone. Be able to, for lack of a better word, appreciate the greatness of you, in you, and about yourself, and not be moved or motivated by the criticism of others. This young man, it's easy to talk well about your own, but I'm saying, I'm speaking about him as an intellectual. This boy is a thinker. I shouldn't call him, he's my boy, but he's a young man. And when I say this boy, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the young man that he is. There's a part of me that will always talk about him, how I met him. And I met him when he was in his mother's womb. So he'll always be my boy, but that term is not to demean or be condescending towards him. He'll tell you this about his dad. When he was growing up, I spoke down to him. As he began to grow older, I spoke across to him. And now that he's a full-grown man, there are occasions I speak up to him and I speak over. My speaking up to him is a term of endearment and respect, that he has something inside of him that triggers things in me that cause me to be better and think outside of the box that life has created for me. You're going to find out that the more you live, the more you're going to find out just how even out of the box people are in a box. So to be able to speak to my son on an intellectual basis, and we have these conversations that heighten my sense of awareness and causes me, I got to go back and look at that. I've got to go back and look. Anytime I'm challenged intellectually, you get my attention. My friends challenge me, all of them, probably but one. Let's see, Mike Grubbs. I do more time feeding him. Mike Grubbs, he challenges me, but he's the one friend in E.C. Weston is on. He can attest to this. Mike Grubbs challenges me with the stuff that I've given him. In other words, my sayings, my quotes, my who I am, the things that I've poured into him over the years, he regurgitates those things to me. And just to show you how powerful, potent, and prolific it is when he spits it back to me, I'm like, oh, that's good. Almost like I just gave it to him. But for the most part, all of my friends have a level of intellect that speaks to certain areas of my life that causes me to want to be better, do better, be greater. My accountability is great. Well, my son is also a part of that accountability. Now, that doesn't mean we agree on everything. That doesn't mean we see the same way on everything. But we have this mutual respect and bond that when he's talking, I'm listening. I'm not listening to speak. I'm listening to understand. And I'm sharing this with everybody for a reason. One of the reasons is I think I owe him praise. I do. I think I owe him praise. I don't think I've celebrated his mentality as much as I should have. So that's a part of what I'm doing. The other part is I'm hoping that I say something that would trigger something in you to look at what you are or not doing with your kids, and to look at yourself in some regards, in some way, just help you become better. All right. So my son, he's a thinker. And we got together on him and my daughter, the queen, Lady Victoria, if we could say that. Me, him, and Lady Victoria got together on Father's Day. They came by. And it was probably one of the most golden Father's Days I've celebrated because of the intimacy of conversation. We were literally spitting at each other, challenging each other, bouncing stuff off of each other, and it ignited a fire. And it challenged us to be more, greater than what we've been, but maintain the level of meekness, maybe that we've never had. So when he made this post, and I encourage all of you to go look at it yourself. It says to be local, you got to look good. To be global, you got to be good. That speaks to all of us. I saw this thing from so many different sides. Then when I began to read the comments, it motivated me even the more, so much so till I called him. I'm like, oh my God, boy, you own that text, Doc. Deacon, you own that, man. That was good. Let me give you some of the comments. Javon Hill, who's extremely instrumental in the area of music, him, Alex Hill, and there are others. Their influences is bigger than their name, believe it or not. I want to read. So Mike Terrell, he's like a nephew or a little brother. Mike Terrell commented on the post, and he said, I beg to differ on a certain level, or perhaps I should ask additional questions. I like that he didn't limit himself to his subjective opinion, because we always have that. So he says, or I should ask perhaps I should ask additional questions. Like, good at what to be global? Because there are multiple artists that are global, but definitely not good at what they claim to be, or what they claim to be their craft. But they look good, though. And Terrance Emmanuel responded and said this. He said, Mike Terrell, they good at something. Talent is just one aspect of things. Some people just know how to say the right things or make the right decisions. And there is no global artist that doesn't have good songs or art, etc. May not be our preference, but you cannot chart and not be good. The world got to choose you to be global, because just looks has never been enough. Even one-hit wonders make a good song. They just aren't good. That's why they can't do it again. Then Mike Terrell says, could you agree that if it wasn't for the looks, for some of the people I speak of, that they would never have been granted a chance? Terrance Emanuel responds and saying, Mike Terrell, now that I agree, that's part of the game, though. That's when you look good. People think you are good, but to sustain you, you need substance at some point. Mike Terrell responded and said, all facts. So they're having this conversation on the book. And the only thing that I keep saying is this boy's DNA is different. A lot of people know his father. They don't really know his mom, but his mother is all brain. So it's not just his father's DNA. It's a mixture. You take my DNA and mix it with his mother. His mother wanted to be a meteorologist. How many of you all really understand what that is? She studied for it. Worked in the medical field, and now she's a mortician. She's a science geek. She's brilliant. Her mind is different. And what makes her dangerous is she's silent. She's very silent with words. She's very calm. She's an introvert. And the poker face is her forever posture. See, with me, you can pretty much see it in my face. My face, facial expressions do a lot of talking. And what they don't do, I will verbally ascribe to allowing you to see exactly what I'm thinking because I will say it. He has a mixture of us both. We come from generations of thinkers. I was once told that my great-grandmother helped think her way out of poverty, from cleaning the floors of white people into finding a way to build her own business so she could get out of it and still make money from it. I want to applaud my ancestors. I want to applaud my ancestors because as my son stand on my shoulders, his mother's shoulders, we stand on the shoulders of those who went before us. In other words, as brilliant as you may be, someone else gets the credit for that, not just you. It wasn't just your ability. It was the contribution of your village. It was more than just you making up your mind to be more and to do more. You have to credit your environment, good or bad, or good and bad. So to be able, one of the things that our world is missing people that have the golden element to be able to articulate and explain their point to the point that no matter what level you're on, you're able to get it. Thinking is so important. The spiritual component of thinking leads you to discernment. The natural component or the natural act of thinking causes you to be in constant search of information. And the more you feed, the more you read, Get that? Feed, read, feed. The more you read, the more your mind expands, which gives it more agility to be able to develop thoughts that are beyond you. The human mind is brilliant, but we don't tap into that brilliance because we are lazy. So whenever I see people that are working on their grind and willing to go the extra mile beyond what's expected, I try to highlight it, especially when they're right up under my nose, and that being the personality of my own son, my only begotten son. I never forget, I told his mother, let us make Terrance in my image and after my likeness. No, but he's a brilliant young man. For those of you who are in music, Pastor Wayne Benedict, I'm almost done with your flyers. Let me tell you something, y'all. For those of you that are moving, you need to get this guy, Wayne Benedict. I'm telling you, I was warned. He's going to take care of you, Doc. He did that plus. And in the days to come, I'm definitely going to be talking more about him. If you all noticed, probably the past 3 to 4 weeks, we haven't been doing coffee time just because of schedule conflict. It's a lot going on in the mornings, and I haven't had the chance, but we're going to return or resume to coffee time in the morning in the next week or so. So you all be praying for me. But I wanted to jump on and really just give kudos to my son. I want to thank God for him being such a brilliant mind. For those of you that do music, he's already wrote some Grammy-nominated hits. He has. In fact, the bro Dietrich Haddon, he and I were talking about my son, and he was like, man, let me check his tracks out. We sent him the tracks. He said he loved them. There's some things that he's going to do. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But the boy is brilliant, and I'm grateful to God that my son is not another statistic. He's not another black man out there hustling. This boy is really using his mind to gain an advantage. But in order to use his mind to gain an advantage, there's a level of heart and understanding that he has to have. He reads a lot. He reads a lot. One of the punishments when he was growing up, him and his sister Victoria, the Queen, Lady Victoria, I would make them read books. Some cases I wouldn't whoop their behind. I'd make them read books. That was their punishment. And to see the fruit of this young man's mind come into fruition, manifest at a high level, so much so that he's pulled by the industry greats, it's something to really celebrate. So today I celebrate my son. I'm proud of him. And I encourage you all, stop, pause, celebrate those you love. Especially those you fed. Celebrate them. So many times we wait to death, birthdays, special holidays to make certain acknowledgments and claim certain facts. I would never be a part of that number. I try to do it every day of my life with somebody. So shout out to my son, Terrance Emmanuel. Dude is brilliant. We got a show we're going to do together. Yeah, I'm telling you, he and I, we did radio together. We had a day of the week where it was TNT, Terrance and Terrance. He gave his perspective based on where he is. I gave mine based on where I am. And it was powerful because we were able to learn from each other. I think one of the greatest jewels in life is when you can look at your seed, glean from your seed, learn from your seed, and be proud of the things that your seed is doing. Anyway, I just wanted to get on and share with that. Thanks for all of you that showed up. I appreciate you. It's midday coffee time. Do more than where you are, and it'll take you further than where you are. Y'all have a good one.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrance Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrance? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.